You might recall the U.S. has been trying to create a coup in Venezuela, or at least collapse the government there, because they're socialists, because Venezuela has nationalized their oil. The U.S. wants to crush their people. We've put all kinds of sanctions on them. Estimates are that, 40 to 80,000 people have died from our economic war on them. The U.S. government is directly responsible for killing tens of thousands in Venezuela by cutting off medicine and food for the poor and the elderly, etc. So the Venezuela had an election the other day, and Venezuela elections far more legit than American elections. They have international observers. They don't have our ridiculous voting machine, black box voting machines like we do. So Venezuela elections far more legit than United States. They also have, you can go see opposition forces, parties do run against Maduro and against for other positions. And here in the U.S., they managed to get all of the third parties, and really they're the second parties, because Democrats and Republicans, same shit. Democrats and Republicans, need I remind you, agree on war, endless war, agree on endless environmental destruction, agree on climate change, at least in behavior, maybe not in words, but in behavior, agree on having the U.S. be the largest prison state in the world, agree on Wall Street running unfettered, maybe not in words, but in behavior. Agree on unfettered capitalism, the entirety of the core issues, the core systemic issues in the United States, the Democrats and Republicans agree on. So they are one party for all of those issues. Then you have a tiny subsect of issues that they may legitimately disagree on, but basically they are one party. So in order to have a legitimate election, you'd have to have second and third and fourth parties outside of that one party, the corporate party, Democrats and Republicans. You'd have to have second, third, fourth parties that actually have a shot, that actually are given full media coverage, that actually are shown to people. But we don't have that, do we? In fact, Jill Stein tried to attend one of the debates as a third-party candidate. She was running for president, and they arrested her and handcuffed her to a chair for several hours while the presidential debate went on. So you can go read that article right now. Google it if you'd like. Jill Stein, 2012, chained to a chair because they wouldn't let her attend the debate because she was a third party. And they can't have that in the United States. So here where we supposedly have our free and open democracy, yay, wee, put on a party hat, blow a little horn. We don't have that at all. In fact, third-party candidates are mainly just covered up, censored, suppressed online, and that goes for Bernie Sanders, even though he ran as a Democrat. So they're mainly just, ignored by the mainstream media, suppressed online. But occasionally they're even chained to a chair when needed. Chained to a chair and locked in a room alone. And Jill Stein, who's about 4'6" and weighs 12 pounds and is 60 whatever years old, actually said to the guard at one point, I'm a tiny middle-aged woman. You can let me off of this. Can you just unchain me? I'm not going to leave this room. You got the door locked. You got an armed guard. Could you just unhandcuff me? And they said no. They were terrified of what Jill Stein might do because she is a vampire, so she could suck their blood. So they had to worry about that. Anyway, let's get back to Venezuela. Venezuela had an election. The U.S. did what we usually do, which is try and create basically a coup there, bring down the government, try and insert propaganda bullshit to destroy the election. We told, similar in other countries, Latin American countries, we tell the opposition not to run so that we can claim the election wasn't legit, because when the opposition runs and loses, it looks bad for the U.S. puppet people. It looks bad for the puppet people, so they just tell them not to run. So many of them still ran, though. Opposition forces did run for office. Anyway, here's from Al Jazeera, but you can get it from many sources of what went down in Venezuela. Venezuela's ruling Socialist Party allies and allies sweep regional elections. President Nicolas Maduro's allies win 20 of 23 governor posts in elections that saw the return of opposition to ballots after 4 years, meaning the opposition forces boycott the elections last time, as they were told to by the American government. So, yeah, the Venezuelan socialists won large in this election. And I just have to, it's only a 4-second video, but I feel like it speaks volumes as to what's been going on. I have to show you this video of Juan Guaidó. Juan Guaidó, most of you know, is the fake puppet president of Venezuela. He has no power. He has no position. He just claimed 2 years ago to be the president of Venezuela without ever having gotten a vote for president of Venezuela. Never a single vote has been cast for this man for president of Venezuela. He stood up and said, I am a president of Venezuela. And the United States said, yes, he's president of Venezuela. And literally, this caused all kinds of diplomatic problems because now, you know, if the U.S. is acknowledging that this random dude is president of Venezuela, what goes on with passports? What goes on with the UN? What goes on with all sorts of international, diplomacy and shit like that? So it caused all kinds of problems that the U.S. just pointed to a random dude, never received a vote, and said, yes, he's the president of Venezuela. And the U.S. then pressured all of our allies to also say he was president of Venezuela. Ultimately, they got 50, I think, countries out of 200 to say he was president of Venezuela. However, as it was clearer and clearer that he was not president of Venezuela, that number slowly dwindled. Last I checked, it was around like 19, but I think it might even be lower now. 19 countries out of 200 claiming he's still president of Venezuela, never received a vote for president of Venezuela. Anyway, here was him giving a speech the other day. And it's just wonderful. It's just, it says so much. It just speaks volumes. I feel like it sums up the entirety of this situation and the entirety of the fake president that the U.S. has put into that position. Here he is giving a speech, and with the bold and strong presidential plaque behind him, presidential emblem. I think that sums it up. He's like a bad SNL sketch. Just amazing. Literally their little fucking dinky cardboard cutout fucking set that they created for their fake puppet president couldn't hold together. We gotta see that one more time. I am Juan Guaidó, the president of Venezuela. Oh God, it is straight out of like Arrested Development or SNL or some shit. But that's what the U.S. is supporting. That's what we're doing because we want to crush the people of Venezuela. I mean, here's the thing. Even if you fucking hate socialism, even if you don't like how Venezuela is doing things, it's none of your goddamn business unless you're in that country. It is none of your goddamn business. Like, for us to try, and you can have an opinion, but we're doing more than have an opinion, right? We're cutting off their ability to have an economy. We're cutting off their ability to manufacture their oil, which was their big moneymaker for a long time. We're cutting off their ability to get medicine, to treat their people. And we've even arrested one of their diplomats, Alex Saab. He was going to secure more money for their food program in Venezuela, where they give boxes of food to anyone who needs it. And so he's on a flight to go secure more money for that. And they arrest him in Cabo Verde off of Africa. And then the U.S. gets him extradited to the United States for some crimes we've made up. And this is a diplomat. Diplomat's supposed to also have immunity on top of the fact that he didn't do anything wrong. But so right now we have a political prisoner from Venezuela that we've grabbed. And we have, I think he's in Florida, facing trial. This is how the U.S. does things. We literally just grab other people's officials. I mean, imagine if other countries were doing that to government, to U.S. government officials. Imagine if other countries actually said, hey, let's arrest the people that created all these war crimes. Let's arrest the people behind all these war crimes. They would have fucking U.S. government officials in every prison on earth if that were the case. But instead, all these people have diplomatic immunity, right? They run around and don't have a problem. There is, I think one or two countries, France or Germany or whatever, somewhere, put out a warrant for the arrest of, I think, Dick Cheney or something. So Dick Cheney can't, or maybe George W. Bush. I can't remember. But in general, they just, U.S. officials, fine. We can go around the world, wreaking havoc, 900 military bases around the world, trillions of dollars dumped into our Pentagon to blow up other countries. Just the other day, our Department of Defense failed their audit again. They've been audited like 3 or 4 times. Every time they just walk out and go, yeah, we failed. Sorry. Don't know where the money's going. They're literally just a giant money laundering scheme where fucking trillions of dollars is taken and given to military contractors to bomb children overseas. And that's what we're fucking celebrating when you celebrate the military, when you have jets flying over fucking NFL games and everything. That's what you're celebrating. Bombing children in a giant, using a giant money laundering scheme. But yeah, none of those people get arrested, right, in other countries. But here we are arresting Alex Saab for trying to secure food for Venezuela's hungry people. And again, they just had their elections. The socialists won big, despite all of the U.S. efforts to destroy their country. And, yet again, the U.S. has failed in their ridiculous coup attempts. They failed in the ridiculous coup attempts against Cuba the other day. They failed in their ridiculous coup attempt against Nicaragua in their elections. They succeeded in Bolivia, but then a year later, Bolivians took their country back. So they failed there too. So hopefully we're seeing a trend. U.S. ability to crush other countries simply because they're socialist, simply because they want the oil revenue or the revenue from their other resources to go to the people rather than go to a tiny cabal of ruling elite fucking fuckbags. Maybe we're finally seeing that the U.S. doesn't have the power to do that. That would be great if that's a trend that continues. All right, guys, that's all the stories I have for today, but please take a second to share this and to donate if you have a couple of bucks to the Solidarity Fund. All that money goes to people who are struggling, and we talk more. We give you more of the details on the Sunday live streams. We go through the thank yous and everything else. So if you're wondering about the details, that's usually on Sunday. So that's the donations from the YouTube Super Chat and from on Venmo at Lee Camp. If you're not watching this live, you can still donate on Venmo at Lee Camp. And what else? Oh, Eleanor Goldfield's vinyl album just came out. If you want to check that out, go to artkillingapathy.com. Also, check out Rad Indie Media. I hope you're checking it every day as your new independent news source. Eleanor and I created it. As you'll notice, it's not a moneymaker. There's no ads. There's no corporate ownership. But hopefully you like it. So go check out radindiemedia.com and keep fighting.